Hey friends, if you've been loving the conversations we have here on the All in My Head podcast and you're looking for a way to ground your thoughts, reflect more deeply, or just make space for yourself in the chaos, I've created something for you. My very own journals are now available on Amazon. Whether it's the gratitude journal to help you focus on the good, especially on the hard days, or the Mind Unwind Journal, a space to release, reset, and realign, these were made with you in mind, my thoughtful, deep feeling, always reflecting listeners. Just head to Amazon and search Gratitude, Mind Unwind Journal, or my name, Jenny Jimenez-Sullivan, or check the link in the show notes to grab your copy. It's simple, intentional, and ready to meet you wherever you are. Listen to the All in My Head podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Please, allow me to show you something.
Welcome back to the All in My Head podcast. I'm Jenny and I am your host. And you have landed here today for episode 32 of season 3. Yes, we are in season 3, ladies and gentlemen. And this one is super close to my heart, and it is called GBG's Take the Mic. Our friendship runs on snacks and love. And like I said, today's episode feels a little different, but in the best possible way. I have referenced these ladies many times, and you probably thought they didn't exist, but they do. And this isn't just a conversation, it's a couch, it's a kitchen table, a group text brought to life. It's laughter that doesn't need explaining, love that's been proven over time, and a friendship that has somehow survived decades, which is scary to say that out loud. Life changes, distance, and more snacks than we can count. And that is, we're going to talk a lot about snacks. But today, the GBGs take the mic. 4 friends, over 20 years of memories, a friendship that truly runs on love and showing up, even when life gets loud. We're talking about how this friendship began, what's changed, what's stayed the same, and why friendships like this are worth holding onto with both hands. The inside jokes, the hard seasons, the late night talks, and the quiet kind of love that only comes from growing up together. And I also believe this is a perfect follow-up for the episode that was last season that was called Do We Still Fit? And that was about friendships that may not fit in our framework anymore. But wherever you're listening from, grab a snack. I have a snack. I'm sure the GBGs have a snack because we don't do anything without snacks. Grab your favorite drink because we have ours and get comfortable, settle in. This one is going to feel like home. It's truly a full circle moment for me, as my GBGs are and have always been my biggest supporters and role models. And we're not going to start off with crying because here I am tearing up already, but we're not doing that because we're just not going to do that yet. But welcome, Sarah.
Hi.
So glad to have you here.
I am so honored to be on your podcast. You're really doing big things, and I'm so honored to be here.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. These girls are the best. Welcome, Amy.
Hello, hello. Super proud to be here. This has been a long time coming and well-deserved.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Again, I told you these ladies are my biggest supporters. And Kristen, aka Diva.
Hello. Yeah, I do. I definitely would not be any other place. We needed to show up today. Couldn't wait for today. And I am so excited about the conversation we're about to have.
I'm so glad because, we all have our personalities and we all bring a little something different to the table. And I'm going to just call it right out. Amy's a little nervous because I haven't given her the questions ahead of time. I'm the same way. So I love that I flip it around on people and don't let them know what we're going to talk about because I'm kind of that person who needs to know ahead of time, but we're fine. And it's fine. It's going to be fun. And I think the most appropriate question to start with is, what does GBG stand for? That's a frequently asked question is, what are the GBGs? What does that mean? And what does it stand for? Does anybody want to jump in on that?
I think we should keep it an air of mystery.
Oh,
Ooh.
I like this.
Let's just say we all have many things in common. And the snacks may lead to physically presenting themselves.
Yes, I love that. I love,
Me
yeah,
too.
let's keep the illusion.
Definitely.
I'm guessing.
Keep them guessing. I love that. I actually wrote something, and I probably will put it on my blog at some point because I haven't really shared it with the GBGs yet. So I feel like it's appropriate to share it with you guys, that I wrote this little poem about other terms that the GBGs could actually mean, like what we know it to be, but also what it all falls into, right? And I feel like it's definitely just a group of women who are ride or dies. Like, we've got each other no matter what. So it's, just four crazy ladies that are living their best lives in their second half of life, right?
You're here.
Here. Okay, but how did we actually meet? Does anybody want to jump in on that one? How did we actually meet and come to know each other?
Cute little school. Yeah, you go, Sarah.
Yeah, we worked at an elementary school in various different educator positions, public school, little neighborhood schools, which unfortunately are few and far between now.
Right.
But we really had a community that had so many strengths. It was a really diverse community, and we, as sometimes it is in education, we just all supported each other to get through the craziness of the days.
Yeah. I mean, I would say we all come from different backgrounds for sure. We are, from different upbringings. We're from different cultural backgrounds. And that was kind of a melting pot school that had kind of the best of all of it, in terms of, the staff and in terms of the children. Amy, is there anything you wanted to elaborate on that with?
I don't think about how we met, but I was thinking back to snacks.
I told you guys it's going to come back to snacks.
And where we would convene for snacks, but that may be a later conversation.
No, I think that that's actually kind of perfect, because I always think of that. I can't really tell you like the moment we all kind of met each other or bonded, but I would say it's a little bit of a trauma bond over carbs. Like, I think we're definitely trauma bonded because yes, this was a beautiful school and it had so much to offer, but as many public schools, they go through their changes, and we go through changes in leadership and changes in staff. And, it wasn't always the easiest, but we always had snacks and we always knew where to go, that we could just take a minute and nobody would find us maybe for a few, and we could just eat some bread and relax for a minute.
Yes, I think sometimes there was the smell of that specialty bread that would be coming through the hallways, so everyone knew where to go to get that quick check-in with each other and a bite to eat, even if it was just a little like, you got this, you can do this, or a hug or whatever it may be, just to kind of help get each other through the days.
Right. And that's the thing. It was this, quaint little bakery in this little town in Connecticut. And we would just like kind of rotate out who needed to bring what or what we were feeling for the day. And yeah, I think it was a very safe place for us to be able to take a moment, take a step back, and just regroup. Again, I always say that public school teachers are doing God's work. So be kind to them and understand that they do it all. Like, they do it all. Their list of job duties is endless. So yeah, a little carbs never hurt nobody. But yeah, we were always sharing with each other what kind of or brand of jeans each other found to hold the bread. To hold the consumption of the bread. Diva, what would you like to join in on that, Kristen?
Oh, so I just happened to stumble upon y'all when you were partaking in this wonderful bread.
That's right.
My schedule was a little wonky that day. I'll never forget that. Yeah, you guys are on a different floor than me, and I didn't know about this little space that you had. But once I was there, not only were the snacks great, but the company was even better. And I felt so welcomed and just a genuine sense of like, come be a part of our group. We really liked having this time together. Come back
Mhm.
anytime. And when that happened, I was like, okay, where can I find you? Is it always here? Where is this? When does this happen? Is there a schedule? Well, yeah, once that happened and once I felt what I felt, I knew that I needed to make sure that I made a point to come back. And whenever somebody said, we're getting together, I would totally be there. And that's been the way that it's been ever since.
Right. And we're talking like 20 plus years because my youngest son was probably in kindergarten when I started at this school. I made a very drastic change into education at that point because I needed to be available for my three boys and all their activities. And yeah, I feel like it's funny. I always had heard in the school that everyone wanted to be a part of this exclusive GBG club. And I didn't feel like it was exclusive per se. I just feel like we all bonded
Mm.
at a time where we all were looking for a different type of friendship. And since we spent so much time together, like it just happened naturally, I feel. But there was always like, how do I become a member of the GBGs? And I was like, we don't have like members only jackets or anything like that. Like we're just like hanging out and keeping each other company and keeping each other sane, in the chaos of life and worlds and family. So yeah, that's what I always remember is that it was just always, it was easy. I felt like it was easy.
Always. Yep. I
Yeah.
agree.
Excellent. Is there, I flipping the script completely, since kind of we're talking about like how it helped with our sanity, was there a most chaotic moment that we can talk about that you remember where the GBGs kind of supported each other in something that was either chaotic or funny or, I don't know, silly? Yeah.
So I think for me, I only speak English, and sometimes as a classroom teacher, I needed to reach out to families that were multilingual. And so I just remember a student that was like, go ahead and call my mother. She doesn't speak English anyway. And I said, oh, I've got someone that can call your mother. So I think we just understood that we could all bring something to like the students we were serving, and that maybe it wasn't me that they needed to hear from at that time.
Right.
And you would just step in and write the notes in the home language of the family and make the phone call in the home language of the family, and that wasn't really part of your role, but you never said no. You just knew that that was important to support me as a young teacher trying to like build that relationship with families and not have language be a barrier.
Yeah, I think that's a great one, and I feel like that's the thing. We always supported each other in everything, and we never were like, yeah, that's not my job. Like it's always all of our jobs because it's constant. It's constantly changing. And I felt like that way with Amy because Amy, you did speech and language, so that was very different for me when I had students who needed these services and I needed to learn something new to be able to support them. I just felt like we clicked right away in that because it could be frustrating when you had a student who, was maybe more nonverbal or, didn't have that same language as other students, but you were there to support in that way.
I think that was really what I loved about, many people in that school, but especially you guys, that we could collaborate and consult with each other. And there was never this judgment of like, you don't know that? Why don't you know that? Or that's a stupid question. Why are you asking that? It was always a safe space, not only personally, but professionally to collaborate and ask questions and get feedback and get someone else's perspective. And I think even from the beginning, it just felt like a judgment-free zone professionally, which transferred over to, our personal conversations and experiences over the years too. But I felt very comfortable from the beginning with you guys. just being able to be open and ask questions and get a different perspective because maybe mine was different from, yours or your experiences or your students. And so I feel like that level of like trust and collaboration was there from the beginning.
Yeah, I would
And
agree.
I just remember, like, personally, like, I remember when, my child was born, and Jenny, you came over with your boys, and two of them were out raking leaves with my now husband, and one of them was pulling wallpaper border off so that we could work on the nursery.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about being hosting anything or what my house looked like. It was genuine, let's like rally around, Sarah and her new family and just pitch in and see what they need at this like wild time.
Yeah, and I think that that was always something that I noticed, and especially having worked in different like capacities and different professional settings, I don't have the degrees that you guys have. I don't have the degree in education, and I was never made to feel like I was less than. Like I was never, and in other capacities and in other roles, it was always something that was brought up and like made me believe for a very long time that if I didn't get this degree in whatever, it could have been in, like ecstatic dance. It didn't even matter as long as I had this degree, then I would be worthy of these walking into other rooms and being, held at the same standard in other spaces. And I never felt that way with the GBGs. I always felt like, for me, I always felt like I was right on the same page with you guys. I was always part of the team and I never felt less than. I always felt like I belonged, and that was instant for me.
Yeah, that's what I resonate with the most was that, being one of few people of color on the staff. I never, you know your limits as far, well, as a person of color, you know your limits as far as
Yeah.
what kind of conversations you can have with people, how far you can go before people might feel uncomfortable or not able to go in as in depth in a conversation that might need to be had. But with the GBGs, I never felt that. I always felt like each of you have always had a good head on your shoulders, a beautiful heart, and that's what spoke volumes. And if I ever brought up anything that was really personal or was concerning, like you all knew that it was concerning and you said it out loud before I even had to say it, which made me know that, hey, these people really know what I'm talking about and I can go there with them. I can be supported. And that's the part that mattered. So I think just the different perspectives that we all come from and the different um, family dynamics that we have. Yeah, we grew up together
We
so many
did.
different ways that it's like when I look back at it now, because I gotta remember, like you said, Jen, I was like, oh, wow, over 20 years is she for real?
Wild.
Dude, it hasn't really been that long. And yes, it's been that long, and the journey has been real. So yeah, I think it's just been a space that's been very welcoming, very reaffirming, and so supportive. And the check-ins that y'all do, we all do, right? Just to say, hey, how's it going?
Right.
How's that thing that you were working on? Are you surviving okay? Do you
Hmm.
need a moment? Do you need somebody to talk to? Always there for each other, even with the snacks if we need it. Or, maybe a
Or yeah,
glass of wine
maybe a
over a
glass.
phone call.
No, because we have been known to frequent some, nice wineries back in Connecticut. But we probably helped pay some of their big bills back in the day. That is. Also, Diva, if you don't mind me saying, we spoke recently and had a conversation about, like, have we ever had relationships that have lasted this long? And I
Mm,
said to you that I've had friends that I've had since high school. I've had friends that I've known since middle school, and I've had maybe one that I've had for probably 20 plus years or more. But in terms of this type of relationship, I don't think I've ever had anything that's been this tight. And you shared something as well about that.
yeah, yeah. We were talking about like I personally feel like friendships have not been my strong point. Like, I get along with everybody, but friendship, that's something that's totally different. So, like when I grew up, I was in a military family, and my dad was a lifer, which means that he was in there for the full 20 years.
Mhm.
So we moved every 3 years. And
Right.
so my friendships, if I was lucky, I had a friend for 3 years. And then at the end of that 3 years, it was like, okay, we have been relocated. We have to go somewhere else. Say goodbye, share your address with each other so you can write. And it was like, okay, I guess we
Mhm.
just kind of move and that's it.
Right.
Not really even knowing how to say goodbye and or how to keep a friendship going
Right.
because it was like you write a letter, hi, how you doing? I'm fine. Please write me back. And that's like, that's it, right? All we had was maybe the phone and the letters. So that never lasted. And I've got friends from high school and stuff, but it's still like a high school in that high school era kind of friendship.
Right.
So yeah, I've never had a really deep friendship. Well, besides my husband, right? But
Right. 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 Right.
that's different. That's a little different. But like a true girlfriend friendship where, you could cry, you could mention something from years past, how you
Right.
dealt with something, never had it this long. So I feel like this is the most precious friendship group that I can never, ever, ever give up. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, and I said that to you. I feel so grateful that, in all these seasons of our lives that we've gone through, like you said, we grew up together and we could have grown apart, like I'm physically not in Connecticut anymore. I'm in South Carolina, so I'm really far away. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me because I've lived in Connecticut my whole life, and any friends that I had, if we were going to go hang out or whatever, that was easy, and it really showed me like who shows up for you still or who even reaches out to connect. And there were people who I was like, oh wow, I spent every day with these people for 6 years at work, in my last job that I had. And you would think that they would check in and see how you're doing, and people didn't. And it was very eye-opening for me to be like, oh wow, I thought that they would check in more, maybe not every day, but like there are people that when I left Connecticut and when I left my job, I never heard from again, and we spoke multiple times a day and we would text throughout. So I'm like, it was interesting to me, and I thought it'll be interesting, to see how we navigate, and I feel like we've done such a good job. And I know like each of you have said to me individually, I could do better and I could try reaching out more, and I'm like, no, I feel like we do a great job. We all have different seasons going on in our lives. We all have children. We don't have mini minis anymore, but everybody has a season that they're in that they're super busy with their jobs, your children, and anything else that's going on. So for me, I never felt like it was like our friendship was going to lack in any way. I just was like, it's going to look different. But I never thought like we would fade away. Yeah, I felt good about that. What's something about this group that has stayed the same over 20 years? Is there something that you guys are like, yeah, that's pretty much the same?
I mean, I think the one thing that I really think has stayed the same is that we can just drop something like a bomb of something that's happening in our life or a challenge
Yeah.
right in anyone's lap, and you just like pick right up and run to that person to support them. So whatever that thing may be, and
Right.
over the years, I know for me, it's been different things, like the challenges of having small kids and juggling a job and parenting, or now having older kids, bigger kids, bigger problems, and being able to just speak freely or drop something big that's happening. And then everyone is there to kind of support and check in or give advice, and not needing to have talk every day or send a text every day, but just something comes up and you can just put it out to the group. I think that's for me, that's just so reassuring to always, and that's been the case, but across the different seasons, is that everyone's always there to support. and give advice or suggestion or just a quick little check-in, even if we're not texting or talking or seeing each other every day like it was when we first started this friendship.
Right. Yeah, because it was really easy in the beginning. We were all together every day, but then, our school closed. People, we were put in different places. I went to another district, and then we all, branched out at one point or another and we're doing different things or different roles, maybe within the district, maybe out of the district, maybe in a different program. And I think that that was something that I always felt like if I came to you guys and said, like, I'm thinking about leaving, or, this opportunity is coming up, you all were always like, go for it. Like, don't let us hold you back. Like, that's not going to change our friendship in any way. And it never did. Like, you guys were always supportive and checking in and cheering me on in any of those roles. And even with this podcast and all the other things that I've been doing, like, truly, like, the biggest cheerleaders that I've probably ever had in my life. And that's why I always say, like, to me, the GBGs are family. I have family who's kind of like, meh, whatever, like, you're doing what? Haha, that's funny. That was never, how I felt with you guys. If I said I was going to do something, you were like, I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you. And it always made me feel like I could do anything.
Yeah, I think it's the acceptance to grow up and change too, right? I am the youngest GBG.
Had to throw it in, didn't you?
Please, wait till she crosses that threshold so we can be like, welcome to the club. But she's still going to be younger. She's still going to say, I'm younger still.
Yeah. But just like, I think sometimes you have family and you have friends that want to see you be the person you were at 5 or 10 or 25. Right. And, we've all gone through things that have well, I'll speak for myself, right? That have changed who I am as a person and my perspective and how much I'm able to give or whatever. And even just like acknowledging that not everyone that we used to share the snacks with and share the community with were able to accept when we took opportunities or made different choices.
Right.
And it was almost like they felt threatened by that or whatever it was. Right. They didn't stick around. So that's not guaranteed. But I just appreciate the opportunity to be like, you know what? Like, who I was at 25 is not who I was at 35 or 45. But I still have something to give. And I think we also, like, we're all able to laugh at ourselves. So it's like, as much as there's the seriousness, there's
literally had to laugh at ourselves.
We can laugh at each other and laugh at ourselves in a way because we know each other and know that it comes from, a place of love. And not everybody has that ability to like laugh at themselves too.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a big thing, right? We've changed so much. Like, our hearts never changed, but also, I've talked about it in pretty much every episode. I come from a lot of trauma. But when I was in that trauma, it was like, you don't even know you're in it, right? You don't know you're in it until you know, And I think that growth for me changed me in the best way. But when you change and you put those boundaries in place and you decide what you're not going to tolerate anymore, that makes it difficult for some people. That some people are just like, well, that's not what I signed up for. That's not the person I signed up for. And I think that never was the case with us. Like, we were always like proud of our growth. Like, if we were going through a struggle, we could drop a text or something. And like Amy said, and everyone would just be like, hey, I'm here to support whatever you need. And I'm proud of you for going through that and coming out on the other side. So yeah, we've definitely always had each other's backs. Yeah. Is there anything that you guys think has completely changed?
I mean, we're not able to physically be together. And, we used to meet up and explore wineries or meet up at local restaurants and sample the menu.
Right.
So physically, we're not all able to be in the same space to do those sorts of things. So I think that would probably be, logistically, the biggest difference.
Right. Yeah. And I missed that. I said that to you guys. I was like, I can't believe it's been like in May, it'll be 7 years that I moved.
Crazy.
And that's why it's like, to me, it seems like yesterday, but then also I'm like, oh my gosh, that's been like 6.5 years. Cause I probably visited in the fall after we moved that we haven't like physically been able to like all get together. So that just means like we need a big outing. Everybody needs to hop on a plane and come see me. And yeah, hubby will be the chauffeur. He'll just take care of us, and we'll hop around and find our own places to visit here. And he can just, he'll be our Uber driver. That will be fun. He already knows. He knows what he signed up for. Was there ever a season that staying friends took real effort? Was there ever a moment in time? I mean, it was interesting to me in the beginning because my kids were so much older, right? Like, so I was coming to you guys with stuff that, maybe when my youngest was like, I don't even know, was he like 10 at the time or whatever? You guys were just starting to have like littles. So like my problems were very different. So now probably when you guys are in the teenage years, you're like, oh, I get it now. And people said that to me. They were like, oh, it must be hard because they have littles and your kids are, different ages. And I was like, no, because we just make the effort. Yeah, I think we just worked at it. But what do you guys think?
I mean, probably like what comes to mind is just the summer that, my child was diagnosed with a rare autoimmune condition and I only had so much to give, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was like things were changing, right? The information that we were given, we were not even in the state for a while. And I can't really look back and be like, oh, I was a good friend at that time and I was like reaching out or whatever. But I know that it wasn't about like, we need the information now, right? Like it was Sarah sharing what she can. I remember the, care package that you sent to my child with like all the goodies to, brighten her day. And I think that's what I meant by like, I'm not the same person before that, but I also feel like for each of you, you had this like skill set that I could lean on. And in that non-judgmental way of like, how do I learn to advocate for myself and my child, and how did you go through this, and now I can actually empathize with you because I know what it's like, or leaning on Amy as a clinician to make sure that I wasn't missing certain things that I needed, and leaning on Kristen as a coworker because we were working very closely at that time and not wanting to be judged for not being the educator at that time. So like I can't really look back, and I know that for me I was not communicating as much, and I know that since then I haven't because I only have so much time and energy. But I also know, to like Amy's point, it's like I don't have to be like, hey, how are you? How's everybody's weekend? I can just be like, insurance is driving me crazy. I just need to like vent because I'm going into fierce mama mode, and you all immediately are like, yeah, insurance sucks. Like we got this, whatever you need.
Right. And I think that that's important, is that friendships look different in different seasons, and that's okay. Like I think if it was, when we were in our 20s, people may have taken it differently, or we may have looked at it differently. I just don't think that we're those people anymore. And then for me, like immediately, like when that happened with your daughter, I was like literally thrown back into my son's diagnosis, which was 23 years ago, and completely different diagnoses, but very much the same life that we were living, like parallel lives of like hospitals and, and diagnoses and protocols and medications and doctors and specialists. And it was just very much like, I don't know anything about your child's diagnosis, but I know what it's like to be a mom that's stuck in a hospital trying to figure it out, and how do we advocate? So like whatever you need in that, or if you just need space, that's fine too. So I definitely got that, but I just feel like we all were like that with each other in different seasons when we needed each other. Like we were able to pick up and just be whatever each other needed at that time.
And I think it kind of brings it back to like the no judgment theme that I keep talking about, but the same thing for like in that situation, like no one was judging Sarah like, oh, she's not writing us back, or she's not telling us the late. Like we were just there and waiting for whenever she was comfortable to share, or whenever she reached out with an update. And we didn't feel like we needed to know more than she was ready to share, or none of us I know I wasn't upset that she maybe didn't respond to a text right away, or, we were just there waiting and ready to support with whatever she needed. And yeah, I think that comes with maturity and like having a confidence in a friendship of I'm here when you're ready, whenever that may be, and not needing to be, in the know all the time or being upset that someone isn't able to respond to a message or to check in. So,
Yeah, for sure. And Kristen, I even feel like that way you've been going through some like physical house stuff that you're just like, I'm displaced. It sucks, like we're figuring it out. But just like dropping a line to check in and being like, hey, what do you need? Is there anything we can do? And just like, and then also feeding off of your energy where you're just like, well, we're going to make the best out of it. We're just going to figure it out. And maybe we'll go explore this downtown that we haven't checked out before or whatever, I remember saying to you, like, are your teenagers like complaining about it? You're like, nope. You're like, it's kind of me, but but I'm figuring it out. And I'm like, that's the cue, right? Sometimes we just have to take that cue from our kids and be like, oh, yeah, it's okay, but just being able to support each other in all of those little things.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, so being displaced, right? It brought up another theme in my life of
Mm,
being displaced, right? And for me, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be fine. We're just gonna like treat it as like a little vacation spot, try to check out the downtown area because we're literally downtown. But it really disrupted this whole other piece of me that was like going back to that military time, where, when you leave, you're leaving your friends, you're leaving a lot of things and you're going into this new place or space. And it made me just, I don't know, just have a lot of feelings again that I wasn't ready to have and didn't think I was going to have. But yeah, you guys have always been checking in and saying, "Hey, what's going on? How's it going? What's going to be happening next?" Or if I have to
mm-hmm.
say, "Oh yeah, we have to go to another place or space because this isn't working here, or they're not going to be able to take us for another month because the project
Right.
has been extended another month." Just knowing that you guys have been there has been huge because that wasn't the case back in the day. Those
Mm-hmm.
friends, they weren't there and we didn't know how to be there, whereas we know how to be there for each other. And it brings up another piece even in my journey when I left our school to a new position that was a
Mm-hmm.
district level position. I wasn't sure who was going to be my friend anymore. It was like, yeah, maybe I'll have friends, maybe I won't. Some people, just because I left the building, it was like, yeah, I'm not going to talk to her anymore. Or now I got a new attitude towards her because, she's coming from downtown,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
right? But for us, that was never the case. There was no judgment. There was always support. It was always like, hey, we're gonna get together. You want to come too? And it was like, yeah. And we would get together. We would hang out. We'd eat. We'd have a few drinks, and it would be like nothing ever interrupted anything. So that
Yeah.
is a true friend, right? And truly somebody who is looking out for you, and is gonna reach out and just say, hey, how you doing? Here if you
Yeah.
need to talk. Hey, I've got a moment. Hey, do you want to meet up for a walk? Those things that talk about mental health.
Yeah.
Those are like mental health olive branches, right? That you're just like, yes, I'll take it. I will take that branch and yes, I'll use it. I'll use that
Yes, and
lifeline.
I've said that to you. I'm like, I don't care if it's 10 minutes. If you have it in the car and you're driving along, give me a holler and we'll chat. If I'm doing something else and I can't, then I'll get back to you and we'll have that conversation. And for me, it's not about like quantity as much as it is quality. And Kristen and I talked about this where it was, it's kind of funny when you think you're like, therapy and all those good things. And I've said, oh, you feel like you got a handle on stuff. And then boom, you have to, be displaced from your house because you need to have this work done. And then you're like, what is that? Like, where did that come from? And why are you here? I thought I was good. And it's just always interesting that like we can have those conversations and be honest and just go like, yeah, that really threw me off. And, where did that come from? And I think you even said something like, like, I just thought I wasn't a good friend. And I go, well, look at you here, like having a 20 plus year friendship. So who are you talking to? Like, you're a great friend. And you were like, yes, I am. And I was like, that's right. Like, let's not look back at like things that didn't work, or even in our group, like, maybe our group has changed a little bit, and that's okay. Like, I feel like we need to make choices and make movement forward with what feels best and safe for all of us. And I think that the four of us feel that. Yeah. It's good. Okay, this is a good one. This is just a fun one. And I think we all know I'm a person, I think everybody knows this about me now, but I love giving a nickname. Like, clearly we've got GBGs, we've got Diva, which then Diva goes, I'm not a diva, you're a diva.
Totally not a diva.
No, and
that's why it's so funny.
That's why it's funny. It was like this one diva moment that you said something and I just snatched it up and took it forever. And I was like, she's so not a diva that's why it's funny.
No, I think it was a haircut.
It was.
It was a haircut, and she like walked taller and
yes.
into the room, and you were like, "Okay,
diva." Like, I think
totally was
fit with it too. I think it was a whole vibe, and I was like, "Okay, I see you. That's right." Oh, Sarah has a good memory. Thank God for that, because menopause, mental pause, as I call it, mental
pause. I love it.
Mental and pause. But I love a nickname, and we've been given nicknames even by our own like students, where we had like like DJ Royal and
Missy Elliott,
Elliott. We've had our own names given to us, but there were things that kind of stuck. But if each of us had to play a role in our friendship, like, what role do you think each of us plays? It's a good one. I always felt like Amy, Amy was Martha Stewart for quite a time, because she could plan, like she could plan something. She could make something out of nothing. Like, she could create something and make you feel super special. So you definitely were I felt like the planner, like, to the T. You still are, because you'll say, oh, we're having the reunion here and this is going on. And of course it is, because you're going to plan, which is why she was stressed about not having the questions.
Because I couldn't plan.
But here she is, talking and planning ahead of time. Look at that. Doing it. So I would definitely say you were the planner, like, of the group.
I can see that.
I don't know if that's still
the coordinator, the planner. Yep, I see it.
Yep.
That's right. I feel like that. Anybody else have ideas, or like, what role would we play? I feel like Sarah always got the data. Like, she got the scoop. She had it down. Like, if we need, not even like the tea, but like, just like all the details, like, all very detail oriented, very data driven. We could always count on Sarah to get it all. Like,
so true. So true.
Right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I agree with that.
All right. You can all throw me under the bus and say what you, what role would I play in this?
I think you're that like mama bear, nurturing, making sure that we each have a little something special. Even if we weren't giving gifts, you'd like personalize something for each of us and make sure that we were like really well fed too.
Yeah.
Even if we were all assigned to bring something, you'd usually bring like something extra.
Hilarious. That's so true. Like, I literally got up this morning and made a sourdough pumpkin bread for my writers group tomorrow.
Yeah.
One's like, who's that for? Like, not for you. It's for the group. He's like, this is for the group. I'm like, you had enough bread this week. Like, you're fine. But that's funny, because even Dan says that. Like, when we did our episode, he's like, yeah, you're the mama bear. But that's to everyone. Like, that's not even your like kids. Like, you're very like, he was like, not territorial, but you're very like, I'm going to take care of people. And I'm like, I think that's just how I grew up. Like, I just, like, that was our way of showing that we cared for somebody. Somebody was struggling, you brought them food. Somebody died, you brought them food. And that
So
just
your
like,
love language is food, you're saying?
for sure. For sure. Like even over the like Christmas vacation with the kids, like that's all we did. Like we played outside and we ate. Like, and that was all they cared about. Like good food, good company. Like I think that it just shows, to me, it's like putting the effort in, it just shows someone how much you care. Like, and I think we always do that. Like we never, rarely do I remember a gathering that we got together where we didn't eat. I can't
True.
remember one.
True. I remember sometimes where you hosted when like our kids were young, you hosted like gatherings at your house or holiday things at your house, and you always made sure everyone felt comfortable, they had their favorite things. It was just like cozy and warm and loving. And I think not only with like the food and drinks that you had available, but just like your personality was just like, how can I make you feel comfortable and find those little things that would like speak to each person, whether it was like a favorite drink or favorite chapstick or candle or whatever it was. Like you went that extra mile to do something thoughtful like that for each of us and our kids too.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, every single kid. You made sure every single kid was seen. Every person, whenever we get together, is always seen. And you're able to speak to something about that person or something that they might need or find a way that they can enter the conversation or be a part of the group. And you'd always show a little bit of love in some kind of a heartfelt way, be it a GBG cup or a necklace, or I think we all kind of did that. We always found something GBG related and we'd bring it to the group, right?
Yeah, I think it's so funny. I wrote about this recently. I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece of writing, but I think I think I was doing a prompt for my writing group, and it was similar to like how I show up or whatever. Like, how do you
Mm.
show up and how did you learn how to do that? And I laughed about it after I read it because I was like, I think it came from trauma. Like the not being seen, the not being heard weighed on me for so long. And I don't think it was until my oldest, he's going to be 34, which is wild to me because I'm only 25. Flip those numbers. It wasn't until he was a teenager that he said to me, like, he witnessed a situation and he was like, why don't they let you talk, like within my family unit, like, why
Mm.
don't they let you talk? They act like you're not here. They act like you don't exist. Doesn't it bother you? And that was the first real like aha moment for me that I was like, yeah, this is not normal. Like this is not a good thing. And now my own children are projecting it back to me and saying like, do you not see this? Or like, is this normal? Is this okay? Like, and why are you not saying anything? So I think for me, it's always about making sure somebody feels seen and safe. Like that's huge for me. And I even talked about it with my daughter-in-law over the vacation. We were, she didn't come from that unit, that normal unit growing up. And I said to her, she was making empanadas because she's taken over the empanada making, which I'm excited about. But she was doing that and I was getting some of the other things together. And I said to her, I thought you didn't like us in the beginning, because like I thought I was very thoughtful about like gifts that I got you or things that I brought to you or picked up for you. And you didn't really respond. And she was like, oh, it was just very weird to me. Like I didn't grow up with that. We didn't get gifts. We didn't, if you got a $5 McDonald's coupon, that was like, there you go, that's your gift, and there wasn't a lot of that family feel like, so she's like, I just didn't know what to do with it. It was very strange to me. And I said that to my son and he was like, no, just give her a minute. It's weird. She doesn't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. And then I remember the second Christmas where like, I pushed over a pile of presents for her and I was even more thoughtful because I was like, maybe this is the year, that she was like, and she had littles, 2 under the age of 2. It was a lot. And I remember her saying like to the kids who were again, like 8 months and like whatever, less than 2. And she was like, excuse me, these are my gifts from Lala. So you can go over there to your pile. And like with each one, like this beautiful smile and surprise and even tears. And she was like, I just didn't know how to accept that type of love. And so Dan's like, sometimes people are overwhelmed, Jenny. You need to take a step back sometimes. Just give them a minute. And I'm like, okay, I get it. He's like, you want to like love bomb people sometimes. You gotta give them a minute to catch up. And now she's that person who's like, she'll like joke to the other like, girlfriends of the boys, like, I got this, like when like showing off what she got. And then they do the same back to her. And it's beautiful now. But it was hard for me because I was like, wait a minute, like I'm really trying. I didn't get that growing up. How come she's not seeing it? And she was like, because I never got it. I didn't know what you were doing. And I didn't know if there was an agenda, more importantly. Like that was her thing. Was like, is there an agenda? And I was like, oh God, like, okay. Yeah, I'll give you a minute. Let me back up. Let me take a beat. But thank you for that, ladies.
I mean, I think for Kristen, you're just one of the most incredible listeners that I've ever met. And you have this really sincere ability to be present. And I appreciate, like, when we talk, we can be talking about, shoes that we want to buy. And then all of a sudden talk about the math world and content and pedagogy and how do we move people and how do we solve the broken education system. And like, to really be that present is hard for me. And I really admire that about you. And I think you have a really strong social emotional intelligence that please don't take for granted, because not as many people have that. And you've always shown that genuine care with like showing up and being present.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. See, and I thought I was going to be like the jokester of the group or something, because I was like, well, I was like, I don't know. I kind of pointed out the swaying of the trees at one time when we were together. There are a few too many. I don't know.
It's so funny. Dan brought that up recently, and he was like, how many bottles of wine do you think you guys had? I go, I couldn't even tell you. I'm like, we were just like, yep. Oh, we like that one. Can we get another one of the? Yeah. And then the trees were swaying. They were swaying. There was no breeze, but they were swaying. No, I would agree with that though, Kristen, because I feel like you definitely are such a good listener. And so, don't ever sell yourself short on being like so present and so integral and as a part of this group.
Oh, thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah. Again, my kids were older than your kids, but I feel like my kids just loved on your minis so much, especially like Bennett. He just loved having people who were smaller than him, even when they got bigger than him. You know what I mean? Like he was the youngest. So I think for him, he just loved that. But how do you think like marriage and children and distance has reshaped how we connect?
That's a really good point.
I think intentionality is like a big part of it.
Yeah, and I think I'm just like, hey, I'm going to do a Zoom with my GBGs or a house party with my GBGs or go on my phone call with my GBGs. And I think, raising a daughter, like my mom has had the same best friends since 7th grade. And she's very close with my aunts, right? So I grew up in like a very female-centric household and married into a very female-centric household. And so just knowing that that's something that I wish more than anything for my daughter, right? Like I want her to be healthy and I want her to be successful and I want her to like, pick an amazing partner in life. But I also just really want her to have those strong female friendships, right? And it doesn't mean, like you were saying, it doesn't mean you need 15 friends, but just being able to like be real and carry that through. And I know she knows that and she sees it because we verbalize it, but also just in like preserving that time.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I think, this year for me, I feel like moving forward is all about intentionality, right? If it's intentional in the time that I give to people, the time that I spend on the things that I want, that I love. But yeah, it doesn't have to be, like you said, all the time. We can't always be on the phone with each other or talking to each other or even physically seeing each other. but the time is very intentional. And I see that with each, of you, like when we're talking, it's the presence.
I was gonna say it's intentional, but it's also it's just for us.
Right.
Like this is like it's so I feel like this is so like our friendship is just so helpful to me that it's
Hmm.
just a way for me to give some time to myself is what happens when we get together.
Hmm.
It's like because one thing I know about the GBGs, they give and give and give and give, and
Yeah.
sometimes give so much that that we often put ourselves last, and
Hmm.
it's not it's purely because we love the people that are in our lives, and we do anything for them, and when we get together, it's just a moment for ourselves, just to
Yeah.
give ourselves some time to laugh, to
Yeah.
eat some things that maybe we can't eat all the time, like cheese, bread, chocolate, right? We eat those things that we just don't even give ourselves sometimes. And it's just like, we just totally get to indulge in friendship, in love. And I think most importantly is that part that where we just see each other and we can relate to each other, no matter what it is. And
Yeah.
we feel heard and supported. And if anything, like cheered on all the
Yeah.
time. And it's
Never
like,
judged. Never
you know
judged.
so we preserve it so much because it's like this is me, this right here, this space, this
Yeah.
is me, and when I give to it, that space also gives back. And
That's
it's
right.
like it's so powerful that that's what's kept us through our marriage, through getting married, through having kids, through having a career, through life challenges, with
Mhm.
family, extended family, you name it, right?
Trips.
No
Yeah.
matter what the hurdle has been,
Yeah.
it's like this space has always been so precious and sacred, and it's just been a way to give back to
Yeah.
ourselves. Just that
And I think
sisterhood that I was just gonna say, just that sisterhood.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I know for me, like anytime I leave either like a Zoom call with all of us together or any like one-on-one phone calls or walks or meetups, I always feel so rejuvenated afterwards. And
Hmm.
it's just like my cup feels full after leaving those times with you ladies because I can just be myself and I feel supported and encouraged. And even if it was like just a quick 5 minute conversation, it just feels so good afterwards. And I feel so good afterwards that it just does so much for my soul and my heart. And yeah, it's just such a grateful feeling to have those friendships. So even if we're not all in person, even when we do have the Zoom calls, it's just I don't even really know how to put into words the feeling, but I always hate hanging up and then sad that it's ending, but always feeling so refreshed and rejuvenated afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And
love that.
yeah. And for me, I think it's, a big part of that is just like acceptance of like who I
Mm.
am and my family. And, I'm part of a strong and loving, like multiracial family. And
Mhm.
we were not always accepted by
Mm.
my family or my husband's family and friends. And it's like I can only go so deep if you're not acknowledging the two people that I love most in the world, and
Right.
understanding that that's part of who I am in my journey and what I'm talking about and sharing. And I don't take that for granted because that's not something that everybody can
Right.
relate to or wants to relate to. They may want to connect with me, Sarah, the white girl, but they may not want
Right.
to connect with my larger family. And something that I've always been thankful for is like the acceptance of Sasha to be who she is and to know that she's so multifaceted, and that I'm modeling with her that you can have close connections and be real, even if, like Kristen was saying, we have come from very different walks of life and different
Right.
family structures, and but we've all found like deep connections within each other. And I
Mhm.
think also like it can be rare to like have a group where like if I see Amy we're not like talking about someone else in the group, right? We're just like, oh, is everything okay? Or let's like, there's not this like jealousy or pettiness behind it. It's like we all understand that there's different relationships within the group, but it's all, I'm like happy when I'm like, oh, you did get to talk to Jenny. That's awesome. Like, that's so good.
Right.
Not feeling like left out or like, oh, even it doesn't even occur to me that there's going to be anything negative said about me. It might just be like, oh, have you heard from Sarah, or what's going on with her? And like, I don't want to underscore that, because I think that that part is very rare as well.
Right. And I think
I agree. There's like no competitiveness. There's no jealousy. It's all just like happiness that someone else got to see someone or talk to someone. And that, I guess I never really thought about that in that way, Sarah, but I think that is unique, because I've had other friendships where, you know, there was an odd number, or, you know, more than just two people, and that is really challenging. That can be really challenging for people who maybe don't have the confidence and maturity to be happy that someone else is getting to do something, even if you weren't a part of that or involved. So yeah, that's a really valid point, Sarah.
Yeah, and I think that that's so interesting because, you know, we've talked about this. We're not the same people we were when we met, but we've kept our bond going. And we've had friendships where individually or collectively that, you know, just it didn't support the growth in who we are and who we've become and who we are continuing to become. And it's never been like that with us four. Like, there's never been this jealousy or this, you know, mysticism behind, like, oh, you talked to Amy? Like, what's going on? Is something happening that I don't know about? Like, I've never felt that way. And I've never felt left out. I've never felt, like I said in the beginning, like I didn't truly belong in this core group. And that even if we didn't talk for 2 months or whatever the case may be, we're all on the same page, and we can show up in our messy selves and in our messy way if our lives are, you know, going crazy or haywire, or we could show up in this joy and in this, like, look what I'm doing, and or this is what's happening in my life, and everyone is still cheering for you, you know. Like, there's never been that with us four where we're just like, oh, like, yoo-hoo, like she's doing it again, great for her, you know. I've never felt that way, and I felt like that in other friendships where it was very disingenuous, and that, you know, I could tell and I could feel that when somebody was saying, oh, that's great, they really meant like, not really, but whatever. I've never felt that way, never. Yeah, and I appreciate that always. Let's see, shifting gears a little bit. Ooh, I think I'm going to save that one. That's
Ooh, wait.
Oh boy.
That's that one. I think we're coming back. Was there like this aha moment when you realized, like, oh, we're going to be in each other's lives forever? Was there a specific moment or time that you were just like, oh yeah, this is more than just like we work together. Like, we're going to be, even if we're not physically growing old together, we're going to grow old together. Like my husband and his best friend always joke that like they're going to end up in the same like nursing home somewhere between here and
that would be awesome.
They're going to like race in their like, you know, little whatever in their little scooters and like get kicked out of the nursing home. Which, if you knew them, you'd know that that's probably exactly what's going to go down. But yeah, was there this like aha moment? I'm going to start because I know there was an aha moment for me. Again, my kids were different ages than your kids, and I've talked about this, so it's not like my son doesn't care if I talk about it. He's like, whatever you want to talk about. You know, I had this very challenging moment with my oldest son where I had to make this decision of asking him to leave my home, you know, as a 19-year-old. And, you know, he wasn't following the rules. He was doing what he wanted to do. He was just living a life that was not conducive to my other two boys and our life in general. And it was the hardest and probably worst, you know, feeling decision that I ever had to make. And I remember coming to you guys. I mean, we're talking, you know, like my God, he was 18 at the time and he's going to be 34. So I knew like that you guys could not relate to that time or age group of having a child and going through that specifically, and getting it from my own family, who was just kind of like, what are you doing? You can't do that. You can't just, make this decision and, have him, what's he going to do? And I'm like, I don't know. But, this was the ultimatum and this is what he chose. So I never felt judged by you guys. And like, it was like literally that moment of me like falling apart, feeling like everyone was judging me. Like I was kicking my kid out because I didn't care. Man, and you guys just rallied and supported and were like, you said those words, like it's not like you didn't give him options. You gave him opportunities and you gave him options, and this is what he's choosing, and you choose to have the door, like open for when he needs you, and for when and if he makes a change, and he's still your child and you still love him. But none of you ever said to me like, what are you doing? Like, horrible decision. What are you thinking? You just supported me in it, and it was messy for a long time. And you just each guided me through that, and I was like, yeah, these are my golden girls. We're going to grow old together because we get it. We get each other. So that was my moment. And if I have never said thank you for that, thank you for that. I love you guys.
And look at him now, right? He has his own family. He's successful. He's a great dad, great partner.
Yeah, we've talked about that even at the vacation when we were together just a month ago. And I was like, look at your life. Like, did you think you would be here? And he was like, no. And I had to go through all of that. Like I don't look back, and he's like, I don't look back and say like, oh, I wish I didn't go through that. Like I needed to go through every moment. And he just needed to leave Connecticut. He needed to leave those patterns behind. And so as hard as it was, like, yeah, it was really the best thing. But man, I would have lost my mind without you guys. That's for sure. So thanks. That's my moment where I was like, yes, we're the Golden Girls. Anyone else have a moment, or you just kind of knew, or what do you think?
I just wonder if like cumulatively it's just stacking all the good years, and stacking all the life things that we've been through, and if you put them all together, it's like you said, over 2 decades of just all those decisions about family and jobs. And I think just right now it's like being real about being in this like midlife place of like we have our kids, but we also have either one parent or 2 parents, and just feeling that pull and being real about like, I don't remember anybody talking about this, but this is really hard.
Yeah, it's a whole different season that nobody talks about, right? They don't talk about like aging parents, and you're aging at the same time, and your kids are growing up and they're moving on and moving into these new stages, yet you kind of have to revert into being this parent for your parent. And yeah, it's a very different dynamic that people just don't talk about, but we can like talk to each other about and support each other in like what that looks like.
Yeah, there wasn't one moment for me either. I mean, if I look back over the last 20 plus years, at every phase of my life, you guys have been there to celebrate, exciting moments or to support me through challenging moments. Whether it was like 2-year-old tantrum toddlering phase, all the way up through, the teenage challenges. So it has not been one moment, but so many different moments that seemed maybe minor at the time, but when you put them all together, it really does stack up to be quite a bit. I know the girls and I were just talking the other day. They're like, remember that time when Jenny and Bennett came over and we made pizzas? And so, you guys are embedded in their lives too. And so, yeah, and I think for them, they know when I have a conversation like, oh, I'm gonna get in the call with the GBGs, or, I'm gonna go do this, with the GBGs. Like that has been embedded in their whole lives,
Yeah.
knowing the importance of the friendships. So even for them, I think it's special and unique for them to see these moments
Yeah.
and to prioritize the time. Yeah.
I was trying to think if there was actually just a moment for me, and I would echo everything that Sarah and Amy said. But if I had to say it was a moment, I would say it probably started when I was the one with the little boy,
Mhm.
and Sarah and Amy were the ones with the little girls.
Mhm.
My little boy was running up and down and up and down and up and down, and I'm trying to listen into the conversation of what, as the girls just happened to be sitting and being able to be a part of the group. And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, I'm not going to be able to hear what's going on or what's happening. And
Yep.
no matter what, I was always invited into the conversation. And I would find a moment and it would be like, okay, quick, let's just talk about this really quick. And then I'd be off again running after my son. And not, just because he was busy. He was a busy boy and
It's a
he
boy.
just
Yeah.
wanted to be around. And Jenny'd be like, yep, yep, my boys were just exactly the same.
It did
But
not affect me. I was like,
it didn't
that's a boy.
affect us. Right. I was still included. And so, like, not only that, so that's probably when I first saw it
Mhm.
because it was my son. But really, what it was also impacting me because, like Sarah was saying earlier, like, I'm really good at listening. I love listening. And sometimes I forget that I'm part of the group, but I won't even say anything.
Yeah.
Every one of you will always say, "So, Kristen, what about you?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, my thoughts. Let me
Right.
tell you what my thoughts are." Right?
Right.
And then I'll make sure that I say what's actually in my head. But
Bring
it's so easy to take advantage of that piece of me to take advantage of the fact that I listen, but to ask for my voice or to hear what I'm actually thinking and to contribute to the conversation is not something that was always asked of me, like either growing up or with friends. Some friends would just assume, just have me listen the whole entire time, and be supportive the whole entire time, but my thoughts were not always honored. So, but always, 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 my thoughts, my feelings have always been honored here in this space. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that because I didn't even know that it was something that was missing until I realized, oh, they're like stopping and pausing and asking me. I'm like, what do I think?
right.
And I think it all started back then when I had a little boy who was just, and I saw it with him first that, oh, wait, they are, just because I have a boy who likes to be more active, they're not excluding me from the group. They're
Right.
still finding ways to bring me into the group. So
Right.
that's what had me sold for sure.
I love that. And I think, like I said, I think it was all different for each of us, but I think collectively, right? It's that, we just all know how to show up for each other, and that's just not going to change. And we know that, we may have to tweak it, we may have to tweak what the GBGs looks like, but it's still
Hmm.
always going to be like inherently real and authentic. And that's what I love. Here's a good one. What's something you may have had to unlearn or relearn within friendship, and within this friendship group? Like, as we've all had friendships before our group kind of became. I think for me, it was unlearning that everybody doesn't have an agenda against you. Like, and that's something that was from like childhood, and that's from my own trauma, that like everybody doesn't have an agenda, and everything's not, again, everyone's not against you. Like, I kind of had to walk lightly and feel it out in the beginning, but I think I was bringing out some of that trauma in the beginning, and maybe overdoing it in some ways or underdoing it. I think that's something I had to unlearn or, reinvent in my life to make a friendship work properly.
I think for me, I'm still working on this, but not really good about asking for help. And I think being in this group, being able to be vulnerable and that it's okay to ask for help, it's okay not to know everything or to do it all
Right.
on your own. I think that, and that's been like a nice conversation, just even be able to open up and share and have with the members of this group, because I always would try to just do it all myself and not rely on other people, because if I'm doing it myself, I know it's going to get done. And just being able to open up and know that it's okay not to be able to do all of it on your own and to ask for help. I think that's been a big one for me.
I tend to be really hard on myself and think that I always have to have the right words and the right tone. And most conversations, I'll walk away and be up in the middle of the night thinking about, why did I say it that way? Did they
Yeah.
misinterpret it? Do I need to, say it a different way next time? And I really can't think of many times that I've had that feeling in the GBGs.
Yeah.
Because you all know me so well and accept me, flaws and all. But I also feel like strong in our friendship that I would have the tools to be like, oh, I didn't mean it this way. It's not sitting on me well. Can I, say it again? And you've all given me that like grace and space to be like, I wasn't even thinking about that. Or if I was, thanks for like coming back together. So I think for me that like I spend a lot of time and energy people pleasing and worrying about how I'm coming across. And I think, that comes from trauma as well. But I just appreciate that I don't have to like waste that mental energy and could be more present, because you all know me and won't take it any differently than how I mean it. Or again, give me space to like apologize if I did misspeak.
Yeah.
For me, I think that I had to unlearn that everything I present to people does not always have to be okay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like I can share things that are not okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think I share a lot with people when things are not okay. I think I
Right.
feel like I always have to think about how I'm presenting myself, to not go too deep with people because
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, I don't even know where it comes from, to be honest. But just that when things aren't okay, that I can't, and it's actually healthy to share
Right.
with people when it's
Right.
not okay, and to have somebody relate and be able to say, "Oh yeah, that happened to me too," and this is kind of how I started to deal with it or manage that. I think that's something that we've done a lot, is just be able to have a place and a space to be able to share when things are
Yeah.
not okay and to get that support and related feeling. I experience,
Yeah.
I don't know, just that thoughts of how to manage it without judgment, but just like, here's some options.
Yeah, I
How
think
you
we've
could,
talked about that. Where, like, growing up, you were told to put this face on and that everything's fine. And, people don't need to know your business outside of the house. And that was something, and culturally, for Hispanics, like growing up and saying, therapy, what are you talking about? Like, you're going to tell somebody your business and you're going to pay them to listen to your business? Like, no, we're not doing that. You know what I mean? But
mm,
I think that's, yeah, it's that undoing of like, it's okay to show up as your messy self, and life is not perfect, and life doesn't always look like the white picket fence and, the 2.5 children, and, and every day is different in your home, and you and your husband may not get along today, and your kids are driving you crazy tomorrow, and you might have to go on strike when they're in the middle of baseball tournaments and go, park in the middle of a parking lot at a school and have cops look at you funny because you're on strike. That didn't happen at all.
While someone may or may not have been flirting with the security, with the
when somebody
crossing guard.
had been
Somebody.
an adorable older gentleman. But you guys like never were like, I remember like, I think it was Sarah was like, you did what? And I was like, what? I'm on strike. Does that mean you can go have a cup of coffee after work or grab a cup? I can do whatever I want because I'm not going. They're going to figure out how to wash their own socks and they're going to figure out how to pack their snacks, and we'll see what happens at the end of the week if I'm on another strike for another week or they figured it out. But like nobody looked at me and went like, what? Like I remember my mother going, you can't do that. That's your job. You have to like, and I'm like, I can do whatever I want. It's my house. It's my family. You know what I'm saying? But never did I feel like you guys were going to just go, are you out of your mind? You were like, well, what does that mean? Can we go do something after school?
Yeah.
Where should we meet you?
Because you're not going to the 7,000 activities that your kids have? Yes, we can. So yeah, I agree. I love that about us, is that we're just like, okay, sounds good. Do what you got to do. All right, we're doing a little finish this sentence.
Oh no.
This friendship has taught me, for me, it's unconditional love. Yeah, you guys love and show up without condition. And, you know, I hope that I've done that for you as well.
Definitely.
This friendship has taught me.
That I can be myself and show up wherever I'm at and not be judged.
That was Amy, by the way, if people didn't know. Who's doing great with all the questions she didn't get.
I did it.
I'm proud of you.
And I even went first after you, Jenny, okay?
Look at that. I don't even know. The growth is happening right here on the mic.
I would say this friendship has taught me about the woman I am and the woman I continue to want to be.
Love it.
Great. So, let's see. This friendship has taught me how to be a friend. How to be a friend. And I think there's so much more than that, but I think just how far a true friendship can really go. Because we got friends, right? But
Yeah.
this is like a true friend. Like we said before, this is a sisterhood. This goes beyond the friendship. And that's what it's taught me, is what a true, just how far it can really, really go.
Yeah. Yeah. I text you guys before I text anyone about something that's happening in my life. Good, bad. I don't text family first. I don't text other people. Like, it's you guys first. So yeah, it's a different kind of friendship. Friendships like this matter because we need people. Like, we need our people. Like, not everybody, it hurts my heart to say sometimes, like, not everybody gets what we have. Like, you know what I mean? And that's like, I see it now in retrospect that like many of my friendships were very surface for most of my life. And I'm starting to build some connections here, but it's nothing like the GBGs. And I tell them, I'm honest. I'm like, they're like, can I be it? No, you can't. I'm sorry. We'll have a different kind of friendship, but we're not, you're not a GBG. But yeah, I think it's just, you know, we need connection and we need women who meet us where we are.
Like in a space where we can just be ourselves. You don't have to put on any fronts or, you know, anything like that. We just show up and be ourselves. And I know I keep saying the same thing, but I think it is a unique thing to be able to show up and completely be yourself and not worry that who you are isn't good enough or isn't right or isn't whatever.
Right.
I think it's just a freeing mentality to have.
Freeing. That's a perfect word. Perfect.
Yeah, I'd say because life be lifing.
Life be lifing. That is the truth. If I haven't said that in these past 2 years, like I had somebody reach out and say, "Oh my God, I haven't heard from you." I'm like, "Cause life is life. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just, there was moments, especially with Dan's dad passing. I was like, we just had our heads above water at that point. We were just trying to like maintain, but yeah. And again, life is lifing, and we're not, no, none of us judge each other and go, "I haven't heard from you. Where have you been?" Like, life.
What was the sentence starter again? I forgot it already.
No, no worries. Mental pause. Friendships like this matter because
Mm. Ooh. Yeah, I agree with what Sarah, like, because life is hard. Life is
life is
hard, and
hard.
you need that space. You need
Yeah.
that that place where you can be vulnerable, that you can
Mm,
fall apart, and you can also get picked back up,
right.
and just have a load taken off when you really need that load taken off, so that you can get on with the other things that are important to us as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having that space to be supported.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I remember saying to Bennett, last year sometime, he was having a rough season of his own. And I remember saying to him, like, you're human, right? Like, life is hard, right? And you do know, I mean, I know you think you're Spider-Man, but I, that you're human and that I love you in all your humanness and that you don't have to be perfect for me to love you. Like, my love is
Mm.
unconditional. And this release that came from him, like, I think we both sobbed on the phone for like 20 minutes. And then I said to myself, "Oh my God, I think I was telling myself that too." Like, I don't think that was really just for him, where we both were just like, "Man, did we need to hear that?" Like, nobody ever said that to us before. You know what I mean? Like, and so we both just sat in that, like, yeah, we're human and
Wow.
it's okay to fuck up. And it's okay to, be messy, and it's okay to not know the answers. And it's okay that we make mistakes because we've only been here one time. Like, we're learning. Like, I've never been this age before. So I'm learning what this looks like, and I said the same thing to him and he was like, "Yeah, I needed to hear that." And I'm like, "Well, so did I." So I'm glad that we did talk today because I just told myself, like, I'm okay. I'm human and I'm going to figure it out, and whatever it looks like, who cares? Yeah,
Mm.
it's good. Is there an inside joke that we cannot explain, but we're still dying over, still laughing over?
Too many, too many.
Too many. It's so true. It's so
Hey,
true.
Crystal?
So, drink a drink.
This is terrible.
This is terrible. I was literally cracking up the other day because I think Dan was throwing a fit about something, like, not even, it was nothing. It was whatever. It was just a moment. And I did what I did with our student when she was throwing a fit because the schedule changed, and that's rough. And she did not want to go to gym. So she threw herself on the floor and was screaming on the floor like, "No, no." And so I just laid down next to her and right outside of Amy's office on the floor, on the kindergarten floor, screaming, "No." And the look she gave me was like, "What is wrong with you?" And she just needed to get up and get in line. And I was like, "That's what you look like, just so you know." Like, there was nothing else I could do. There was no like flashcard that I could show her. There was nothing that was going to give her like pause. She was having a moment. And that's really how I felt at that moment anyway. I was like, I feel the same way. So I'm just going to lay down on the ground and scream with you. And she got up, so it worked. But yeah, so many. The trees. I thought about Amy, like before I moved, we had a sleepover at Amy's. All the kids were gone. It was just us, again, eating and drinking and having a grand time. We didn't leave the house. We just were hanging out, sitting by the fire pit, eating outside, eating inside. eating on the couch, eating on the recliners. And there's like 1,000 light switches in this house. And we fell asleep. So we were like, okay, maybe we're just going to leave her. We're going to cover her up and leave her. And mind you, she fell asleep in mid-sentence. She fell asleep in mid-sentence, and then Sarah and I are like, we're just going to turn off the lights. Could not figure out how to turn off the lights. We were turning on fans. We were turning on things that in other rooms. We were just like, what the hell is wrong with all these light switches? So we gave up at that point, and we started to walk away. And doesn't Amy sit straight up and continue the conversation? Continued the conversation.
I just needed to close my eyes.
Are we going to open another bottle of wine? Are we going to keep talking? I was like, we're going to girl.
Just need a little disco nap.
She needed a little disco nap, and she was good to go after that. I just thought that was the funniest thing ever. And I remember coming home and telling Dan, I was like, it was the funniest thing. I've never seen somebody be able to like continue a conversation after a nap. Like, that's a skill.
Yeah.
That is a skill. And then I'm like trying not to make noise at 7:30 in the morning and just ready to grab like children's chewable Tylenol.
Tylenol.
The worst headache. And she's like, and then she pops up like nothing happened the night before. What do you need? You need a cup of coffee. I need Tylenol first.
As she's like guzzling the biggest cup of water.
I was literally going to take the baby aspirin. I was just going to start chewing. Like, I didn't even know if it was Flintstones or what was going on in there, but I was just going to start taking stuff. Everything was child proofed. And I was like, oh, good Lord, I can't.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, there's too many of those, but those are just a few that came to mind. All right. We're wrapping it up, guys. We're right at the tail end. Our group text, like name, iconic or unhinged? I think it's iconic. I mean, agree. GBG's for life. That's easy. Like, yeah. I've got some other group names that are unhinged, but I think ours is good. I
agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are we long voice notes people or short texts? Or long texts?
I think mine tend to be long. And I need to make sure that everything's spelled right.
This is so true. Rarely have I seen a text come through where there's a misspelling on Sarah. And I thought I was like the grammatical person, but I don't think we're voice notes people.
No, I would say long text, I think.
Yeah, I think long texts. Late night talks or early morning coffee? First of all, I don't do anything early. Like, I rarely got to work on it. I can say it now. I'm not there anymore. And it's been 20 something years. Like, I love coffee, but I'm not going to be there early for it.
I think personally, I'm an early morning.
Yes, you're an early morning.
I think sometimes I have a quick second, and after I send a text, sometimes I'm like, ooh, this might be a little early for certain people in this group, but it's a time when I can text, and so here it is.
Right.
True.
Right.
I like walking and talking.
Yes, you're walking.
Yeah, move the GBG and talk while you're walking, and then undo it all with wine and cheese and crackers.
That's why you walk, so you can have the wine and cheese and crackers.
Right? Yes.
Yeah, I think I think of like late, because I don't know if late, but I think late to me is still 10:30, so that's late for me. I think of sending a text and then I'm like, oh wait, I don't know. Like, people have to go to bed and get up early. I don't have to. So I'm like, do I send it? No, I leave it in a draft. But then sometimes it goes days and then I'm like, oh shit, I didn't send that. Probably not pertinent anymore, but that's fine. Sweet snack or salty snack?
Oh.
Depends.
Salty followed by the sweet, or sweet followed by the salty?
This is what Dan doesn't understand. Like, I'll have a bowl of ice cream and then I'm like, I need some pretzels like 20 minutes later. And he's like, you just had ice cream. And I'm like, yeah, but I need the salt to wash away the sweet. And he's just like, okay, that's weird.
Sweet and salty. Yep. Sorry. It's got to be together.
Agreed. who's most likely to plan the trip versus who's showing up with the vibes? I mean, let's just say it. I think we know who's going to plan the trip. I think Amy's planning the trip.
Yep.
Because she's got to know. And
Yeah.
no stone can go unturned.
Right. And if I plan it, then I'll know.
Right. And it'll be great because she planned it. I'm showing up with the vibes, like, for sure.
And
Like-
I'm keeping track of the details.
Sarah's keeping track of the details.
Yep, I got the vibes. I'm definitely showing up. Just tell me when.
And we'll be there. Let's see. Ooh. All right. I want to leave that one till the end. Yeah, I'm still going. I went back to it, but I think that's got to be kind of the closer.
I was hoping it was coming out. I want to go there. Let's go.
Let's go. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. What do you think the younger versions of us would be proud of right now? Would be most proud of right now? I think everything. I don't think our younger selves would have thought we could have dealt with half the shit we've dealt with and come through on the other end stronger.
Agreed.
I think my younger self will be proud that we have been able to remain such good friends over the years. I think it's easy to take that for granted, but really kind of spending some time today thinking about it, analyzing it, comparing it to other things. Like I've always felt that it's been special, but just to hear everyone talking, I think my younger self would have been super proud that we've been able to maintain the friendship through these years.
Yeah, because I mean, it's work, like any friendship and any relationship. Like people are always like, what's the secret to a long marriage? And I'm like, there's not a secret. Like it's work. It's hard. It's messy. It's not everybody's going to belong and stay together forever. And it's recognizing where you're at and what works. But I think also like being able to have those conversations with each other, like, what's working in this group, what's not working in this group. And, like just being real with each other and making that effort, whatever it is. To me, it doesn't have to be these long things anymore where we have to be together and spend all this time together. But when we do, we make it quality. Or if we're having a video chat, it's quality. So, yeah.
Agreed. I think my younger self would be happy to know that I found a sisterhood. Definitely found it. Irrigating it.
Yeah, she
Sharing
would.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, she'd be like, "Go, Tina." All right. I guess we'll do it then. I guess we'll go. We'll do it.
Uh-oh. Okay. Brace
I don't
yourself.
think it's an uh-oh. I think I oversold it. There's me again with all the pomp and circumstance. I think I oversold it. No, there's a couple questions, but no, what would you tell someone who's either grieving the loss of a friendship? And I know I've been through that recently. I'm sure we've all been through that. Or hoping to have one like this. If there's anyone who's listening and is like grieving a friendship that has lost, or is kind of like, how do I get a friendship like these girls have?
I think to get it, you've got to put yourself out there.
That's hard.
You have to be real and put yourself out there and put the effort in. And I think if you're grieving, what I'm trying to like flip my mindset around is that like those boundaries and letting go of something makes more space for the things that are serving me.
That's right.
Very well said.
Yeah, I think it makes that room for us to nurture relationships better. The ones that are here and that are present. Absolutely. Yeah, I would say even in making boundaries with people in my own immediate family, like I think I became a better friend because of it, because I know that I wasn't holding on to that anxiety and that pressure and that stress. And so I feel like I showed up in a different way when I finally was able to recognize the need for that and also and own it and be okay with it, right? Because that's the part, is being okay with it.
I think sometimes I remember hearing this quote, and it was something like, sometimes friendships are for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And I think, sometimes there are those friendships that are just in a season of your life, and then it's okay to just honor that for the season that they were a part of your life.
Right.
But really putting forth the time and effort into the friendships that are the lifetime friendships, because kind of like Sarah said, that's where you want to put your energy and your time into those friendships that aren't just for a reason or a season.
Right.
Yeah, my husband has always said friendships are not easy, they take work. You got to find the time, you got to make the time, you got to make the effort. But I guess, to Sarah and Amy's point, you do also have to create the boundaries when you need to as well. And you learn, right? You learn how far you can go with people and who really deserves the best part of you, right? It doesn't, but once you got it, you gotta, whenever you get that moment, whenever you have that time, just jump for it.
Yeah.
Don't let it pass by. You gotta jump for it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I loved Sarah's point in saying, you have to put yourself out there. I think if we weren't, I almost feel like if we weren't in that vulnerable state that we were all in at that time, and that we were all looking for that connection and somebody who just like got it and was able to support, we probably would have never fell into each other's orbit. But I also like am a firm believer in that like everything happens for a reason. So like we were supposed to meet each other and we were supposed to find each other, because life's more fun if you have GBGs. So also exhausting when you have to carry it around. Hint, hint, but but no, it's really like I don't want to know kind of my life without my GBGs. It's pretty good. Pretty good. So get yourself some GBGs. Can't have the name, but you can have your own name. But find some cool girlfriends and make a cool friendship. Anyone have anything that they wanted to say before I kind of end with a closing question? Does anyone have a question for me? I feel like Amy might have something written down over there somewhere.
I don't, but I don't. I know. Surprise, surprise. I do want to say how genuinely proud I am of you. You have been like just such a wonderful role model over the years. Like get all emotional. But you have really proven that it's never too late to follow your dreams and just to put one foot in front of the other and keep going to follow and pursue what makes your heart happy. So thank you
No,
for
thank
being
you
that
for
person.
that. I really couldn't have done it without your support, all of your support, because that's what you've always like lended me throughout every stage of our relationship. Whenever I've said, all right, I'm going to branch out and try this, or I'm going to do that, it was never like, okay, that sounds crazy, but you just were always like, go for it. And I'm proud of you. So yeah, I'm trying on the wildest shit coming up soon. But I don't care because I'm old and I don't care anymore. Like what anybody thinks. That's what getting older affords you. Like we don't give a shit anymore. Well, we do, because then we'll overthink it, and that's why it's called All in My Head. But for the public eye, we're like, oh well, this is what I'm doing now.
Well, I just want to say that I have really appreciated your podcast. I've learned actually so much more about you than I ever knew about you, which I was like, well, I didn't know that about Jenny. How come I didn't know that about Jenny? Just certain things that when you say, that there's things that are in your head, I was like, wow, there really are things that are in our head that we haven't all really talked about. And that's why I've so enjoyed this moment today, because all this was in our head. And I think we all learned something new today that we never said. So thank
Yeah.
you for bringing that out so that we could recognize it too and just say that, wow, we really do have something really great.
And I had
Yes.
sent Jenny a text a couple months back just saying, listening to the podcast, and it just made me feel like she was right there and connected. And it was like just so comforting hearing her voice and hearing her do something that she loves. And that even though she's a million miles away, it just kind of made me feel like she was right there with me.
Yeah. Like I was sitting in the car hanging
Yeah.
out. I know when people say, "Oh my God, your voice is so soothing," I'm like, I find it annoying, but I'm glad that you find it soothing. That's all that matters.
Yeah, I think, each of us in our own ways, like we're trying to like break cycles and make a path that wasn't set for us. And that takes so much courage. And so I've leaned into how you've said, this is what I'm doing for my husband and my kids and what's right for me. And I feel that, and I feel how it's not easy to say, wait a minute, just because this is how it's always been in my family or for, women or educators or white, like speaking as a white woman, that I can say, no, this doesn't feel right for me. And it doesn't have to be a big movement and a big act. It can be all those tiny decisions to say, I want something different for my life and my marriage and my child. And so I see that in each and every one of you, whether we name it or not. I think that that's something that I really am so proud of all of you, and it gives me strength to continue on the path, even though we might not have the support of, our given family to do it or friendships. I know I have the GBG support to continue to do that.
Yeah, I mean,
well said.
Friends are the family you choose, right? And we choose each other every day. And I honestly couldn't even have thought about doing a lot of these things if it wasn't for watching each of you like step into your own roles, like stepping into administration and taking that on and being such a badass at it, like you don't see it, but you are, and you're owning it, and you're paving a way for women in that field and saying like, you know what, I can do this and I can carry this on my shoulder. And, and I'm going to continue growing that, and for Kristen and, stepping into your own business. And I know that was very like, nerve wracking. And, we all question ourselves when we're doing something outside of our comfort zone. Am I going to be good at it? But you have so much skill and attention to detail, and you're such a good listener, and you can execute things so beautifully that I'm so proud that, you did that for yourself and that you stepped into that, and Amy, like even leaving, the school where we were at and just making that choice to say like, well, if I'm not coming back because I have a child and I need to be present. And that changed kind of the trajectory of what you decided to do. And you've made such a beautiful, name in it, where even I called on you when my family was having issues. And I was like, this is the person you need to talk to because they're going to help guide you and your child in this journey. Yeah, I think you all showed me that like you can do whatever you want to do and nobody can tell you you can't. So we're doing it. We're doing it, ladies.
That's right.
Doing it.
We're doing it. All right. One last question and then I'll wrap. What is your hope for our friendship for the next 20 years? I hope we get to spend more time together when our kids are all like, grown and doing their own things and living their best lives, that we can make these concerted little trips or gatherings where we can meet each other halfway or wherever and spend some adult time without kiddos. Because they're not going to need you pretty soon. I'm there. I'm way past that. But then they come back and then they really want to spend time with you. And then you're like, yay. But yeah, that's what my hope is that we just continue to grow our friendship and, get those pockets of time where we're able to physically see each other and make quality time.
Totally echo that. Absolutely. 100%.
There's a big birthday
Okay, so
coming up.
should I get on organizing that now? Is that my cue?
Coming up this
Because I'll be there.
Yes. I'm just waiting to find out when Fall Family Weekend is, and then
yes, that's right.
That's my only plans for the fall.
Exactly. Well, no worries. We'll plan it around that. We're going to make it happen. We will plan around, and then yes, what we should do is try to get your daughter in a college here in South Carolina. So then I didn't drop that line earlier, but I think it's too. It's all right. Yeah. Anybody else?
I think just keep doing what we're doing. It's
working.
and it's fantastic. And obviously, I would love to see you guys more either on the screen or in person. But we're not going anywhere. So
No.
I feel like this is just such a consistent friendship that we have that I think it's just going to keep riding on into the sunset.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And maybe we'll all end up at the same nursing home with our walkers. And
we're going to have to own the nursing home because, I have some territorial issues. We were supposed to start a school together, which we haven't done. So maybe we own the nursing home and then we can make it our own little, it'll be like the Golden Girls, we'll be living our best lives, but yelling at everyone else.
Dance parties.
Oh my God, dance parties like it's nobody's business.
Some Beyonce and some 90s hip hop.
Y'all would love it because Kate loves a dance party. So when we babysit, this boy is on the turn up. And I was like, he's definitely my family because he loves snacks and a turn up. So I'm like, he is for sure. Woo! He is there. All right. Anything else before we close, ladies?
I love you all.
Yes, love you guys.
I love you guys so much.
Y'all beat me to it. I was going to say it.
I know. I saw this thing on Instagram. They're like, tell your friends you love them. Make it awkward. Be like, I love you. 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 I do that with Kane, and he's like, get off. Feed me snacks and turn on the music and leave me alone. But yes, I love you all so much. I'm so proud to be a GBG and so proud to have this friendship. So, all right.
Cheers to the next 20, right?
Yes. It's going to be better than ever because it's going to be different. It's going to be different, but it's going to be, look out, world. I think I need to get out an RV and we just start going around the United States havoc.
That would be interesting.
Road. That'll be a reality show. Real Housewives of wherever we're driving to. Oh God, I don't know if the world is ready for that, but guess what? Don't care. If we show up in your town, celebrate us, welcome us, you're going to have a lot of fun. I can guarantee it. As we wrap up today, I keep thinking about how rare it is to have people who have seen every version of me and they still choose to stay. Friendships like this don't just happen. Like we said, they're built in small moments and shared snacks, long talks, growing pains, forgiveness, laughter, and the decision to keep showing up even while life looks different than it used to be. If you're listening and you have a friendship like this, I hope you hold it gently, but fiercely. And if you're longing for one, know this. Connection like this is possible, even if there's those sister wounds that some of us have grown up with. And if it hasn't found you yet, it's out there and it will find you. To my GBGs, thank you for taking the mic, for loving me well, for believing in me, and for being a safe place for my heart for over 20 years. This episode is just one snapshot of a friendship that runs so much deeper than words. And to you, the listeners, thank you for being here, for letting us into your day, your drive, and your quiet moments. And until next time, take care of your people and tell them how much they mean to you.